Alright, hey guys, so it's the Merbo CCG here, and I'm back with a new video. So here, in Dimension Force, there's a new archetype that's been announced. It's called the Scareclaw, and I wanted to go over these cards with you guys and see what you guys think about them and if they're any good. So yeah, let's see. So I'm gonna have like the cards on the right here for you to see better. So this is the first one. So Visus equal, alright, so Staffrost, somewhere on that name. It's a level 6 2100 attack warrior tuner. So that's interesting. If this card is in your hand, you can target one monster you control with a different type and attribute, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. So that makes it seem like there is some sort of synergy in destroying your own cards, similar to Yang. And then when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to half the destroyed monster's attack or defense, whichever is higher. Is this like related to the archetype? Not sure. It seems like a generic card that could be applied. I'm not sure if this one's directly related, but I know this one is. Scareclaw Astra. It's a Scareclaw Astra, so it looks like some sort of saber-tooth monster. So you can only summon with this first prestige of this card's name once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand to your main monster zone in the column of a Scareclaw monster you control, or its adjacent columns. Okay, so that seems interesting enough. You can just special summon. You can only special summon it to a main monster zone in the column of Scareclaw monster you control. So I'm assuming that means in the under the link monster, under a link Scareclaw monster, as that would be in the same column or in the adjacent column. So I guess or next to it if there's already a Scareclaw there. So that's interesting. It's making you more considerate of your zone placement. And then while you control the defense position Scareclaw monsters you control and the extra deck monster can attack a number of times each battle phase up to a number of your defense position Scareclaw monsters with different names. So that's actually interesting. So it looks like So the idea of, just from seeing this, it seems that you're gonna want to have just one big Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone, and then have a bunch of them in defense in the back regular monster zones, and then from that it'll enable it to attack a lot of times. So that's interesting so far. They are level 3 so far, seeing this one and this one. So it's the Scareclaw Veronia, which is an earth level 3 1700 defense. As you can see, there's no attack stat on these guys, so they do want you to put them in defense. That's why it's special. They want you to special summon them here. You can only special summon with the first card. Okay, you can special summon this card from your hand to your main monster zone in the column of Scareclaw monster you control or its adjacent columns. So that seems like the exact same. Yeah. Okay. And then if your Scareclaw monster is in the extra monster zone, attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. Again, so it does seem to be oriented about like just powering up one monster. I'm interested to see if like the next one is going to be something like that, where it's going to give it either an attack boost or some sort of protection. Let's see. So same effect here. Your Scareclaw monsters in the extra monster zone gain 300 attack for each defense position. Yep. So this one, Scareclaw Corolla, seems to be like kind of exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, it just seems like you're just beefing up the link monster. And then just going to destroy with it. So that's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Here we have Scareclaw Reichardt, which is a Dark 4 warrior. You can only special summon with the first card with the first effect once per turn. And you can only use its second effect once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand to your main monster zone in the column of Scareclaw monster. So same thing. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Scareclaw spell trap from your deck to your hand. Then, if there are 3 or more defense position monsters in the field, you can draw a card. So it's just building more advantage. So again, it looks like it's going to be a swarm type archetype. You're just going to want to swarm the field with a bunch of these as you can, and then from there you're just going to get a bunch of bonuses. Of course, you're going to have to use up a few of those monsters to link summon into your Scareclaw link monster, which I'm assuming is the next one. And here we have Scareclaw Reichardt, which is link 3000. 3 effect monsters. That's it. It must be a link summon. It's a generic summon though. Okay. So it looks like must be a link summon is preventing Tri-Brigade users from using it. All face-up monsters in the field are changed to defense position. Okay. Unaffected by activated effects from any defense position monster. Okay. That's interesting. Once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can target one level 3 Scareclaw monster in your graveyard. You can not special monsters for the rest of the turn except Scareclaw monsters, and then special summon the target monster, and if you do, add one Scareclaw. So that's cool. That seems it's just a monster reborn, and it lets you add an extra. That's decent. That's pretty cool. 3,000 beater, so you're just gonna be beefing up this guy, it seems. This is interesting that he's unaffected by activated effects from any defense position monster. None of these effects none of these are activated. They're just like passive effects that are always on. So that doesn't impact this card, but it does seem interesting that he has a protection from defense position monsters. I don't think a lot of people go into defense position, but there's going to be some. And the interesting thing about this is that it's going to work surprisingly like really well with lightning storm, as people are, sometimes people are scared of like you using lightning storm, so they would place their monster in defense position. So this way, if you run multiple copies of lightning storm, you can kind of punish them for that. But yeah, so here we have Lephobia, the Wanton, and Willful World of Desire field spell. So you can see the art better on the right side of the screen. When this card resolves, you can add one Scareclaw monster or one Visas Staffrost from your deck to your hand. So yeah, looks like this is part of the archetype. It just seemed like it is really generic, which is interesting to see. But yeah, it just pops a card, and then you can special summon this card. And then when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to half the destroyed monster. So it's interesting. So yeah, you can just add a Scareclaw monster or that guy. Monsters your opponent control loses 100 attack or defense for each defense position monster in the field. Okay, just a little bit of, if there are 3 or more defense position monsters in the field, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. So this seems interesting. I haven't really thought of like a defense position deck. This seems pretty cool. I'm not sure, like, so far, I guess I'll have to see how effective it'll be in swarming the field. I think the main thing is trying to get all those cards in your hand. If there's some sort of like way to draw these cards, I can see that being extremely helpful, because you just want to have these cards in your hand, as many as you can, in order to do this. And I guess being able to search them out is a big plus, and obviously that's why this part has the drawing feature here, which is really nice. But yeah, so far it seems pretty efficient. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. You can target one Scareclaw monster or one Visas Staffrost in your graveyard, special summon in defense position. Monster reborn for the archetype. That's always really good. And only the second effect once per turn. So if as many as you have of these in your hand, they're still relevant. That's always nice to see in an archetype. That's what Gladiator Beast has, and that's what Speedroid has. And that always helps them out a lot. But yeah, and if a Scareclaw Link monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard. So that's even better. So not only is it a monster reborn, but it protects your Scareclaws from the grave. That's really nice. Edge Imp Scythe does that too, which is super nice to have in this card. So this is definitely a 3 of easily. And then here we have Scareclaw Slash, which is a continuous trap. Once per turn, you can target one Scareclaw monster or one Visas Staffrost you control. This turn, it can attack while in face of defense position. If it does, apply whichever is higher between its attack or defense for damage calculation. It's okay. It can attack while in face of defense position. That's pretty cool. Reminds me a lot of Super Heavy Samurai, which is like that's the entire idea for the deck, is to attack and defend. So that's interesting. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone, you can send this face-up card from your spell and trap card zone to the grave, negate that effect. It's an Omni negate too? What? That is okay, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice, and being able to attack with that Scareclaw monster in defense makes it where you're still able to gain those benefits from that one monster by keeping it in defense. So this is a really nice card. The fact that it's an Omni Negate is like, what? It's just such a nice extra bonus to have there. And then here we have the last card, which is Scareclaw Alternative. Normal trap. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. You tribute 3 Scareclaw monsters. Your opponent can only special summon monsters in defense position for the rest of the turn. It's kind of heavy. During your turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each defense position monster in the field. So, yeah, this run, I don't really see people playing this. You guys can make an argument for it, but, I mean, tributing 3 Scareclaw monsters just to make your opponent special summon monsters only in defense position doesn't seem that great. I know there's, like, piercing monsters and you know, there's cards that punish, you know, like the Link monster that it's not affected by activated effects of the defense position monster. But still, to tribute 3 of them, that's a heavy cost. And then during your turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard and inflict 100 damage. That's not that great. This is pretty good, or really good. It's an Omni Negate. It is slow because it's a trap, but I think this more than makes up for it. It's really cool. The thing is, your opponent will know, so it's not going to be like a surprise having this, since you do need to have it face up to do this. So, yeah, I mean, that's just something to consider. But it's just having that threat looming over them. It's really nice. The Monster Reborn, that's for this archetype. And it's, you know, it's not restricted to once per turn, this effect specifically. And it can protect your monsters. That's amazing. This card is a Searcher, which is always good in a field spell. This is a nice passive, I guess. And then a nice pop. Why not? Just add that. Pretty cool boss monster. Interesting. Unaffected by activated effects from defense position monsters. Again, interesting synergy with Lightning Storm. And then, you know, being able to special summon another one and then search another one out. It's kind of like the nice thing about the archetype, right? All of these swarm. That's all they do. They just swarm the field. So all you need to do is make sure you draw them or you search them out. And there's plenty of ways to do that. And then they buff the main monster up so much that it's always relevant. And yeah, it just seems like this is going to be a pretty good archetype. At the very least, it's going to be like a fun niche archetype to run, but I can see this archetype being really good. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.